Welcome to this edition of On the Scene. I'm your host, Tim Kelly. On today's program, we're going to highlight what the City of Suffolk Public Works Department has in store to prepare for any snow or ice conditions we may experience during this upcoming winter. And speaking of the winter, we're going to preview what the Suffolk Center for Cultural Arts has in store as well for the next couple of months at their fine facility. Stay tuned. Welcome back to On the Scene, joined now by Antonio Jordan, who's Operations Manager with the City of Suffolk Department of Public Works. Antonio, thanks for being with us today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
And of course, why are we outside? Why are we standing in front of this big vehicle and having this conversation? We're talking about preparedness for the winter, with Public Works doing all the great work that they do throughout the year, but specifically during the winter times when the roads have to be cleared. These are the guys and ladies that are taking care of that job. And more importantly, they're planning year-round to make sure that everything is set up and good to go if Mother Nature comes a-calling in our winter months here in the city of Suffolk.
That's right.
So talk to us about some of the preparation. What goes into getting ready for a winter here in the city of Suffolk?
Okay, basically our season never ends with the snow fighting. As the end of the last year takes place with snow removal, we kind of do a lot of our maintenance activities, which tends to be March, April, May, June, and throughout the summer months. Right. What we're doing is we're actually taking an opportunity to review every piece of equipment, any damage that we occurred from the previous year. Right. We're now working with our fleet department in order to get those things together to be able to be prepared for the next snow season. Mm-hmm. When we continue to look at it, we try to incorporate things that we have learned in the past. Right. You know, what worked well, what did not work so well. Correct. From the previous year, if that was anything with routes or anything of that nature. So we tend to spend, 5 or 6 months just doing vehicle maintenance. It'd be lubing, chains, mm-hmm. spreaders, plows, things of that nature. Correct. And pretty much trying to get our operators back into that mindset of taking care of the equipment before we need it actually in the winter months. Right. We would then, September, October, start to get into the issue of now training our manpower again. Right. Getting their mind focused on the snow removal upcoming season. Correct. We'll start rehashing our routes, mm-hmm. priority listing routes that we have. Correct. Training new employees mm-hmm. on the proper techniques of snow and plow, ice removal, and all that other good stuff. Right. So we often have a rigorous training program between the months of September to December, right? With the manpower and equipment, so they'll get there. So most of the time in November, when people see that it's a bright, sunny day, albeit it's cold, right, they'll see us with our plows and our spreaders on the trucks riding around. Our employees are now trying to learn the routes they're going to go on, get familiar with what they're going to be maintaining throughout the winter months. Because again, you don't want to be planning that stuff at the last minute. You want to have your game plan ready to go, correct? Exactly. And the preparedness, I guess, is definitely the key. You mentioned the training, but you also mentioned that off camera, before we started taping, you guys have been going through some dry runs you talked about already. Is that process pretty much what you just talked about, or anything else included with that? You talk about outfitting the equipment and everything like that as well. Yeah, we typically do our dry runs around, like I said, October, November. Right. In addition, the previous year, we started to make inclusions, and we work along with our fleet maintenance to obviously see if there's things that can make us better. Sure. We tend to like to, take a look at what we did right or wrong. Mm-hmm. If there's anything out there that make us run more efficient, right, we take a look at it and we try to purchase. There was one thing that we did over the last snow season. Mm-hmm. We actually brought in a brine truck. Correct. The brine truck we brought in is to help us get into a pre-treatment mode. Mm-hmm. Okay, with the pre-treatment, it allows us the opportunity to be ahead of the storm before it gets here, instead of being in the reactive mode, the proactive mode. Correct. And when we get into that mode, we'll take the brine truck. Mm-hmm. Normally we load it up with a sodium chloride solution. Okay. We pre-treat the roads all the way at 72 hours in advance. We can actually have that down to help us become more effective in our snow fighting. It also helps us on an environmental, because that means there's less coarse material that we have to put down during the event. Sure. So we try to learn those things, and that's what kind of gets us much more prepared for the upcoming season. So we kind of take that into account as well. Talk about the process. Storm's on the way, right, and we're getting our updates, of course, from our Department Division of Emergency Management, letting us know kind of what's coming. We're checking weather reports ourselves. You know something's coming. Where does your clock start to run? How far out before an event arrives do you start gearing everything up, getting your folks ready, getting the equipment ready, getting all the supplies ready to go? What's the timetable look like for y'all in an ordinary situation? In an ordinary situation, we're eyeing that weather report rigorously for like 4 days in advance, 96 hours. We kind of get into that mode of the anticipation of what's coming.
Right.
At that point, we're hosting meetings continuous with our manpower in order to get their mindset ready. We are Alpha personnel, so we're kind of letting everybody know that, you know, this is what's coming. This is the potential of what kind of storm this could be,
Correct.
the event. And at that point, we start to lay down actually how we're going to function during that time frame.
Right.
We start to implement, you know, 12-hour rotating shifts for the employees. Again, we start to make sure that everything is maintained
Right.
and work in order. We coordinate with other departments, like I said, our fleet maintenance department, into making sure that we have, you know, adequate manpower to help us out if we should have some breakdowns or things like that.
Correct.
As we get into the 72-hour window prior to a storm event,
Right.
we ultimately like to continue to have meetings, but that's where we plan on deploying our pre-treatment system.
Correct. Right.
Okay. We are taking a look at our priority 1 and priority 2 routes. Most of those priority 1 and 2 are the majors, arterial collectors,
Right.
Bridges, and things that, you know, that needs to be operational during an events like hospitals,
Right.
fire departments, and things like that. So we start to get our game plan together again to enact that. All of those functions together. So 72 hours, we start to deploy the brine truck.
Got it.
When we get down to 48 hours, we kind of know what we're going to get.
Right.
At that point, I started to utilize some types of charts and things from the SALT Institute.
Right.
You know, they have a snow fighter's manual, and it kind of helps us anticipate exactly, you know, the event weather-wise, temperature, and what the potential is, and how we should put our materials out on the roadway and to use it most effectively.
Correct.
So then we started to do that type of activity. 24 hours, we're 24 hours before the event. Now we're enacting where the 12-hour, we have guys on the 12-hour
Right,
shifts, and
right.
we're counting down, waiting, and we're watching all our weather reports until
Gotcha.
we actually get out here and do what's necessary.
Okay. Now, I know a lot of people will say, okay, it snowed last night, wake up next morning, when are they going to start working the roads? Now, you guys are out there pretty early, but obviously safety is a key, not only for our residents traveling on the roads, but certainly
Exactly.
for you and your staff out there manning this equipment. So if you can talk about how that process goes when you make the determination of, okay, the event has happened,
Right.
we've gotten the snowfall, or it's still falling, as in
Right.
some cases it is. When are you guys out there hitting the roads when that time frame right there?
Well, depending on how the event has evolved, if it's a event where the weather is very cold, I mean below freezing,
Right.
We type to look at that to where we're trying to do ice control, you know, because wet roads is freezing. So we may be out there just now treating the road with a salt sand abrasive to give traction and to also to try to help de-ice where we can.
Right.
Okay. When we are in that opportunity, we're looking at hopefully that weather will play fair. You know, you get this, I call it a solar slope plan. What ultimately happens if the sun comes up,
Right.
temperature rises, it helps us to
Yes.
fight that ice
Yes.
and snow.
Right.
So our guys typically will get out there in the event if we have maybe a quarter inch of ice, something of that nature, and
Yes.
definitely we start plowing for snow when we're looking at 1.5 to 2 inches of snow on the ground.
Got
We
it.
will be plowing. We start our plowing efforts.
Okay.
So.
Now, if people are out there, and obviously, you know, during a weather situation like that, of course, safety again we talked about is key, and obviously, information will be out there about really when it's safe enough to get on the roads. But if you're out there and your folks are out there doing their job, what are some good safety measures and thoughts for the people who are driving in and around those situations? If you got a truck plowing in front of you or to the side of you, obviously there's some, it plows and it's going to kick it to the sides, correct? I mean, that's, I guess physically how that
That's
works.
correct.
Talk about just some general safety measures that drivers out there, while this process is going on, might need to think about.
Yeah, well, most of our trucks and our equipment are equipped with signs that tells people to stay back 500 or 1,000 foot.
Right.
That'd be the key. The key is to definitely do not drive any closer because you risk the opportunity of having material damage your vehicle.
Correct.
Okay. Number 2, we love to try to tell people we're plowing the way for you.
Right.
Instead of trying to get on the side of us or get past us, stay behind us. We're going to
Correct.
make it safe for you to go in.
Right.
If you really have to go somewhere. Most importantly, if you don't have to be out
Right.
there, you give us a better opportunity not
right.
to damage your vehicle,
Correct.
damage, and it increases our safety
Sure.
input with less traffic on the roadway.
Exactly.
I would tell you, if you don't have to go out, by all means, don't go.
That's right.
But if you do, stay behind us.
Now, do y'all utilize crash trucks? I know we do with some of the other operations that go on throughout the city, but do you use them when you're doing the plowing?
No.
Okay.
Our crash trucks are typically not equipped
Right.
in order to, kind of help us out in that event.
Right.
So we do not use those.
Okay.
So,
But you mentioned the signage that's on the
we
back
have
of the
signs
vehicles.
and we have lights all over the place. This
Okay.
thing is like
Can't miss it.
Can't miss it. Can't miss it.
And bright orange plows, at least in this one we're looking at here.
Yeah.
Now, the building behind us, just tell us about what's inside of there. I'm looking at a couple piles of what looks like to me to be sand, but talk about what we got.
Yeah, what we have in here, this building has a capacity of holding 400 tons of sand or salt combination. It's the abrasive we actually use to put on the roadway.
Okay.
In here right now we have a mixture of sand, salt, like I said, abrasive
Yes,
piling. And I
yes.
got it mixed at a 50-50.
Okay.
Okay, so by volume, we will take that. That gives us the best traction and the best de-icing when you mix the sand, salt together. It stays on the roadway
Right.
longer. It don't have the potential of blowing away through the snow or the wind and also the traffic that's traveling. So that's what we got in
Okay.
this down here.
I
I
understand.
have several other ones around
Right.
strategically placed throughout the
Exactly.
city. And we're capable of holding about 1,600 tons of material at one time for an event.
Now, an event happens, obviously your supplies get depleted. Do you start refreshing those right away, or does it kind of depend upon the circumstances?
It depends upon the circumstances. We always have a threshold that we want to get.
Sure.
I get around 800 tons left.
Okay.
We do have suppliers who will come in
Okay.
at a moment's notice to supply us.
Okay. Now, Antonio, if someone's watching this program and they just would like some more information, is there a good contact number for them to call with the city?
Yes, you can call our 514-7600 number.
Okay.
It is our service request or our hotline that gets you right directly
Right.
here to Public Works.
Okay.
And they can get good information from there, the young lady who will answer the phone.
Okay. Well, Antonio, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks a lot.
Telling us about all the great stuff the City of Suffolk is doing to prepare our staff, our equipment, and certainly the roads for the City of Suffolk in the event that we have a severe weather emergency during the winter times, looking at snow or ice. But these men and women are out there working hard to make sure it's safe for you to get out there on the roads. And hopefully, again, we had some great information today to pass along, and that will do it. Welcome back to On the Scene. We all know that the holidays are certainly a special time in the city of Suffolk, and they're really extra special here at the Suffolk Center for Cultural Arts. And to talk about all the great holiday happenings here, we have two lovely guests, and we're joined by Susan Rawls, who is the co-chair of the Special Events Committee, and Jackie Cherry, who is executive director. So thank you both for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Tom. It's great to have you back at the center.
Always a great place to be, and we of course have all the lovely decorations today, and thank you for rolling out literally the red carpet for us today. Well, let's kick it off by talking about what's going on in the galleries, because again, we have some showings right now that are going on, and we could talk about what's happening there as first.
Absolutely. Every year, the center provides a place for local artists to come and sell their wares, if you would, and it's through Jesters, their gift shop. And it's both galleries, the Norfolk Gallery as well as the BB&T. Downstairs in Jesters, we also kick off with a trunk showing this year, which is on the 29th. And it's a jeweler out of Eastern Shore. Again, local artists, an opportunity to support our folks here in town and in Hampton Roads as well.
And of course, with Jesters, that's a great place to shop if you're looking for that extra special holiday gift, whether you're coming for the trunk show or just coming to check out what you have to offer there as well.
Absolutely.
They're all unique gifts.
Absolutely.
And it's phenomenal, and it's for every age range. And it doesn't matter if it's children or perhaps your spouse or a significant other,
Right.
whatever. There's something there for everyone.
Okay. Now, one event that usually dots the headlines here at the Suffolk Center for Cultural Arts is the Nutcracker, and again,
Yes.
they have that in relation also to the Sugar Plum Tea. And Susan, I think you
Absolutely.
got all the details on those two great
I'm going to
events.
try to give you that.
Okay, great.
First of all, we do have the Nutcracker, and it's coming on December the 1st and the 2nd. And the performances are at 3 o'clock each afternoon. Tickets for adults are $25 and for children $15. And it is performed by the Ballet Virginia International Group that is right from Norfolk.
Right.
And they are giving the performance, and they have for us for the past 6 years, because this is our sixth showing of the Nutcracker.
Right.
So they are coming, but prior to the show, and this is a little card we have, prior to the show, flip it over, and it tells you all about the Sugar Plum Tea that we have prior to the Nutcracker showing. And this is sponsored by the Cultural Arts Center. And we set the ballroom up as a fantasy land. We have a huge castle. We have a little shopping, we have little shops all over. And one is a candy shop. One is where you can buy a little souvenir. We have a craft shop where you have a picture taken. We have a photo shop where you have your picture taken with a nutcracker. And then a little craft area to decorate your little card where you put your picture, which is also something to keep for the rest of your life to show what you did.
But we have lots of princesses here
And
that
lots-
are also local talent. if you would.
Absolutely. We have young ladies that are high school girls in the area, and we dress them up as princesses with crowns and everything. And when those young children go through that door of the ballroom, you can just see their eyeballs light up, and there's just this sound.
Right.
And it's not just from the children, it's from the adults too.
Parents as well. And grandparents.
And
They love
grandparents. We
bringing
do
them.
have a lot of grandparents that come. And we just try to make it a fantasy land, and it really is absolutely beautiful, and we'd love for everyone to please come. If you don't go to the Nutcracker,
Right.
which we would love for you to do,
Sure.
you can come just to the Sugar Plum Tea if you'd like. We will be serving tea
Okay.
and punch and cookies that are made by a local school, Kings Fork High School. Their culinary department does all of our refreshments for us, and they're absolutely wonderful. So we're proud of them, and they have supported us each and every year. I believe our tea is donated by Lipton Tea this year,
Yeah,
and which is fantastic to have. And if anyone is interested in being a sponsor, and we don't have specific levels, but if they would like to donate to help support this, it would be wonderful. In the past, we also have had some special needs children that needed, we've been asked if we would help support them to bring children in, and we have done that in the past. That's just a delight that I think we can provide. So we're excited. We're so excited. The Sugar Plum Tea actually is $15,
Okay.
and it begins at 1:30 on both December 1st and 2nd.
And then the performance of the Nutcrackers at what time on those 2 days?
At 3
3
o'clock.
o'clock.
3 o'clock, okay.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
And then following that, we have our Suffolk Chorus that will be caroling throughout the center, and that's always a treat as well.
As people are leaving, there'll be carols sung, and the gift shop will be open also.
Absolutely.
So it's a very festive
Right.
weekend,
Right.
as it is in the whole city of Suffolk that weekend.
And that's Saturday and Sunday, December 1st and 2nd.
Okay. And with the Sugar Plum Tea, you mentioned the Nutcrackers that'll be there. So that's part of the people that'll be performing
Oh,
in
yeah.
just a
Oh,
little bit. So they're
absolutely.
tied in, so you get kind of a sneak peek at what. You know.
The characters come downstairs, and that's when everybody stops what they're doing.
Right.
The kids start watching. They take pictures with each of them. The Rat King is always my
My
favorite.
favorite.
But they really socialize with the children throughout the event.
Yeah, the performers are wonderful with doing that.
Sure.
And the little children are just so excited to run up to them and just touch.
Right.
And have their picture taken. And they sign autographs because we give them programs
Okay.
and leave space so that they can get all their characters to sign their programs for them. So it's an exciting
And once they get
time.
into the theater and start seeing the performance, you just see the chatter going on about, there's
Oh,
the
there's
Rat
Right.
King and so forth.
There's
So it's a
Clara.
great
I mean, you know,
day.
they had a connection prior
Correct.
to.
Correct.
And it just helps to introduce the arts to young children, especially ballet and the music, the classical arts.
Right.
So we're excited to present that to the city.
Now, we didn't talk about what are the ticket prices for the Nutcracker?
25 for
Okay.
adults, 15 for children.
Okay. And again, if people would like to get more information on tickets or purchase tickets, how can they do that?
They can go online or certainly come into the box office here, which is open through business hours, normal business hours, Tuesday through Friday.
Okay. Great. Now, we're going to move from the Nutcracker, and again, you have quite a few more events that we need to talk about today. And the next one up, I believe, is Handel's Messiah.
Yes, that's Chowan College,
Yes.
a university. it's an amazing, amazing show, and it's on a Tuesday night.
Okay.
And we did that purposely because so many people have so much going on weekends and so forth. It starts at 7:30,
Okay.
which is an early show. It is Virginia Symphony players as well as the students. And then there are local residents who also are part of the orchestra and choir. So it's great. Greg, who is the director, is amazing in himself. We're looking forward to a terrific show that night.
Now, they've performed here before, haven't they?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
They have done a spring concert
Right.
here, but this is the first year Messiah's
Okay.
been at the center.
Good deal. And what are ticket prices for that event?
$15.
Okay.
So I think it's very reasonable.
I think it's, yes.
And if that doesn't get you in the spirit of the holidays, nothing will.
Well, again, a lot of great offerings here. We'll transition from that. And again, you have a special movie on December the 8th, and that's also tied into with the holiday parade. So kind of make it a nice day here in downtown Suffolk. And you can, Jackie, you want to tell us a little bit about that one?
Actually, tourism is sponsoring a
Correct.
movie, and it's the Disney's Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey. And that's going to be at 2 o'clock on Saturday, the 8th. And immediately following that, again, the choir will be back.
Okay.
And they'll be performing, they'll be inviting the guests and other children to join them. But we have a special right after the movie. The curtains will come up and
The steel drum group, well, they're called Junior Mosaics, and we have a steel drum group here that is directed by Dr. Anthony Haley. That's right. He's the founder and the director of this organization, and we are thrilled to have this program offered to the children and students here in the Suffolk area. It's a unique learning tool. It goes directly into the standards of learning, which are so strong in our schools these days. It involves math and structure of music and just it just involves so much of the education for standards of learning. So we're so proud to have this group, and they will be performing. It's like she said, after the performance, the curtain's going to come up and the drums are going to be playing. And if you've never heard steel drums, you need to come in here because it is a fascinating group.
And most of these young children are here on scholarships through our Jimmy Spain Scholarship Fund here, as well as the NEA supports that, the National Endowment for the Arts. So we're very, very fortunate. It's a program that's been in Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Portsmouth for some time. And Dr. Haley does a terrific job, and we are so thankful for the donations that provide these scholarships to the kids here locally.
And again, the nice thing is you kick it off with the movie, you transition into the choir, then you have the steel drums, and then you can go right outside and get settled in for the parade, which will be rolling right down Main Street.
And also still shop at Jester's.
That's right. We don't want to forget. Again,
Well, the way this should really flow
Okay,
is
let's
you
lay it out
come
here.
in and you have a good day, you go out, you enjoy dinner. There's so many great restaurants here in town. We're
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
fortunate.
Yes,
And of course,
we
we
are.
have our own Mosaic Cafe downstairs, but all the restaurants in town will be participating, and it's everything imaginable. And we are so fortunate downtown to have the array of restaurants that we do.
Right.
And all of us try to work together. We have other gift shops here in town that
Correct.
are wonderful. And we really want to support all the folks down here, and we appreciate all the shoppers that come in and the participants here at the
That's
theater.
right. That's right.
okay. Well, moving off December the 8th, we have one more event to talk about, and it's Uncle Wiggily's Christmas Carol. Now, you're going to have to tell me a little bit about Uncle Wiggily. So,
Uncle Wiggily is a great Christmas show, and we do the Children's Theater the third Saturday of every month. The tickets are $5,
yes.
but it's very interactive, so the families can come together and the children participate with the performers, and it's just a fun day. Every month,
Right.
we have a group that I don't think they would miss any of them, but the Christmas show is always really special.
great. Well, now again, let's one more time before we leave, let's talk about the website and also the phone number to contact if you want to get ticket information, buy the tickets, or just, again, more information in general about the Suffolk Center for Cultural Arts.
Absolutely. It's suffolkcenter.org, and the phone number here is 923-0003. And our normal business hours are Tuesday through Friday, and of course Saturdays we're open in the gift shop from 11 to 4, and the restaurant picks up at 5 o'clock for dinner.
Okay. Well, Susan and Jackie, thank you both for being
thank
with us
you.
today. Talk about, again, the great holiday happenings here at the Suffolk Center for Cultural Arts.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks for watching this edition of On the Scene. We'll see you next time.